This is Gator. Last time I told you why I stayed on the elevator in Atlanta because Billy Joe taught me not to be a company man. Today I'm going to tell you about the day I met Kevin K-Dog McKinney and how I knew just by watching him walk to the gate that I found my kind of brother. This story started in Bayonne, New Jersey at a refinery job where a foreman named Fran thought he could make a man pick up hot metal rods before with his bare hands. We was up in Bayonne, New Jersey. We got a call out of 164. So I was working with a guy named Moose. Moose was a big old dude. His nickname fit him. He was Moose, a quiet dude though. And me and Moose was running conduit, 2-inch conduit up the side of the tank at the refinery job. And Moose taught me a lot about being in a conduit at the time. He taught me how, when I first learned how to be in conduit, on the bender, I used to just look at the degree marks and bend it by the degree. Moose taught me how to use the travel method. And that means you put the conduit in there and you measure how many inches the conduit move in the bender to make that 90. And then he taught me another trick was like when had a we had a coupling that was frozen. We had to get the conduit loose. And he taught me how you take a sawzall and you make an X in the coupling. And then you take a screwdriver and you knock out the pieces to get the coupling off. So Moose taught me a lot. And then on that same job, Kevin K-Dog, me and him wasn't close or nothing at this time. He had fire watch duty. And on fire watch duty, you stand there and you just sit there and wait until the welder finish welding whatever he's welding and he dropped the rods and you're supposed to pick them up. And then you stand there with a fire extinguisher in case something catch on fire and you put it out. It was just a simple job. But Fran was kind of dude that as soon as the rod jumped down, he wanted them picked up. And so he started screaming at Kevin, K-Dog at the time, hey, pick them up. And K-Dog was like, wait, man, just wait a minute. Wait till they cool off, then I'll pick them up. Then Fran like, nah, you need to pick them up right now. And so, Kevin just kept on doing his thing. And after a while, every day it get, a little heated about picking up these rods. And then so by day 5, I guess, that's when it really boiled over. A rod hit over there by Kevin's foot. And then Fran started yelling, I told you to pick them up, when they fall. And Kevin was like, man, I'm not going to grab them hot rods with my hand, Fran. That's stupid. You want them gone, man, that fast? Bring me something to pick them up, or we'll just wait. Fran was like, no, you done. You laid off. The salad really dropped like a real hammer because you really didn't have to fight a dude over no rod. But Kevin, he sat there and he just took one long breath, man. And then he sat down his fire extinguisher, coiled up his rope neatly, slung his tool bag over his shoulder. Look at Fran. He looked Fran dead in his eye. Man, you don't get to make me look stupid, to make yourself feel big. Then he just walked away, not stomping, no swagger, shoulder square, head high, boots steady. And so we had to do, Dennis was up there, Dennis Sloan, Levi was there, stood his ground, and Moose even followed Kevin's eyes, followed Kevin's eyes to the gate. And I did too, you know what I mean? Right there and there. It stuck in that stank and that sulfur and them art flashes. I watched the brother walk out and he chose dignity over a paycheck, bro. I saw dignity over my own choices. Like in Atlanta, I reflected back when I walked out. You know what I mean? That's the silent covenant between me and Kevin. And I wouldn't even trade that. We didn't even really know each other quite yet. So then later on, we used to, Brother John Raspberry, rest in peace. John Raspberry, was the house that all the travelers used to go over there. And so we'll sit there and we'll talk, and and Kevin was telling me about how him and Fran was going back and forth, and he was from Hamilton, Ohio, and I was from Daytona Beach, you know what I mean? But paychecks come and go, but brothers and dignity, man, that's what's carry you to the next gate. So here's what you need to know, man. You don't find your brothers by looking for them. You find them by watching them, how they walk when the foreman say, "You fired." Kevin Gator McKinney walked out of that refinery with his head high. His dignity was still intact. His name was clean. That's when I knew that was the kind of brother, the kind that won't sell his soul to make the foreman feel big, the kind you can build a career with, the kind you can trust when the road get hard. And brother, I was right, because everything that come after New Orleans, the Superdome, 30 years on this road, it all started with Kevin refusing to pick up the hot rod in Bayonne, New Jersey.